All right, so Hoodie Boogie 313 asked a really good question. He said, do you think TesLaa will get more targets now with Laporta out? That's a great question. And I'm wondering, why hasn't he gotten any already? Now, you can put it on the new offensive coordinator. The Lions are going through it this year. They're going through a transition. They really are. They have, for the first time since the team has been rolling. This is the first year without Ben Johnson. The success that we have had as on offense up until this year has come from Ben Johnson. I hate to say that. I hate it. It grinds my gears to say, but I gotta say it. So we weren't having any success. We saw fire Anthony Lynn. Dan Campbell was taking over play calling, but Ben Johnson was he was kind of like in the wings. Then he officially took over in 2022, 2023, 2024. All 3 of those years, he was up for a coaching job the next year. It was Carolina, then it was Washington, then it was something else, and now he's the head coach of the Bears, which I would never forgive him for. So that's one thing. But now the Lions are going through this transition. We bring in a guy that was here before, but he can't seem to keep a job. And Johnny Morton, I don't know. Now his play calling has been revoked for the rest of the year. And that is a bad sign for his future with the Detroit Lions, specifically at OC. Now, Dan Campbell could be a nice guy and keep him on the staff. I don't know. We didn't keep Anthony Lynn on the staff. I know it's 2 different scenarios, but still, I think you got to cut ties. You got to let him go. Because I think he lost the respect of the players. That's just me. So now we move on to this year. And why did we draft a guy and then trade a guy and then don't even play the guy we drafted? How does that offensively make sense? So let's take a look. I want to show you guys what our offense, and it's the more that you look at this, it's kind of sad because the Lions offense has been top 5 most of the year. I mean, we put up 52 points. We put up 40-some points. I mean, we scored 140 points in 3 games. And that's without a third wide receiver. I want to show you what the Lions numbers are. Here are the Lions numbers receiving-wise. Amon-Ra St. Brown is the number 1 by far, 94 targets with 735 yards. He's been that guy, though. Yes, last year what was it last year? Some preposterous number. He had 15. He had massive amounts of targets and catches. Then you go to Jamison Williams. Jamison Williams, his targets, he has 44 less targets than St. Brown. You can see now, but we already knew this. Jamison Williams is a big play dude. Big play guy. 18.1 per reception. This dude averages almost 2 first downs every time he catches the ball. He has by far the longest reception on the team. But I want you to look at this list. Then we have our tight end who's lost for the season, who has 19 less targets than our second wide receiver. Then look who our 4th receiving leader is. Our running back. Then it's our other running back. Then it's a wide receiver. We have this, ladies and gentlemen, is wide receiver 3. This is wide receiver 3. No, not all of them. This guy here. He's wide receiver 3 with 10 games played, 13 receptions, 17 targets. That's not a bad average. 113 yards. And then the guy that's going to replace Sam Laporta, his numbers are going to go up. And then the guy we drafted for. This is one reason, along with John Morton, his stubbornness, along with the change from Ben Johnson. This is one reason that our offense hits hits bumps. I truly believe that because I'm a numbers-based guy. When we had 2 years ago, it was Josh Reynolds was wide receiver number 3. Last year, wide receiver number 3 was Tim Patrick. This year, the guy who should be wide receiver 3, even if you say it's Khalif Raymond, Wide receiver number 3 has 113 yards off of 17 targets. No wonder our offense is stale and it hits like lows because you take these two guys out of the equation, who do we have left? Who's catching the football? So you take him out, he's now out, you take him out. And we've seen all of this happen. There is a 44 target discrepancy between St. Brown and Jamison Williams, and they've played the same amount of games. I'm putting that on Morton. I'm putting that on Coach. We got a super chat. Lupe in the building. Appreciate you. Says, hey, D, crazy take. I know it's not a good look, but when Johnny Mo said the line was not good, he may not have been lying. He might have been on to something. Well, he was definitely on to something because the line is not what we're used to. That offensive line ain't nowhere close to what you lose. Taylor Deckard has lost several steps. Frank Ragnow was super important to this team, from pointing out coverages to everything. I mean, man, do we miss him. Man, do we miss him. So there's a lot of reasons. B. Orlando says wide receiver 3 could be TesLaa. Let me ask you this, bro. Why is it not been TesLaa? Okay, I'll give you Sam Laporta. I'll give you that. TesLaa is a rookie. Sam Laporta is in year 3. You know, he's got the suave. He's got the experience. I get it. Why isn't Isaac TesLaa at least in the top 5, bro? The dude is literally the last person on the Detroit Lions list, according to ESPN, to catch a football. This, look. Okay, good. You can see here is everyone who has caught a pass, according to ESPN, for the Detroit Lions. This is every single person who's caught a pass. And the guy that we traded for is dead last. Why is that? And then, to make it more glaring, why did we trade away Tim Patrick if we were going to do that? So Cohen says it's the offensive play calling. I agree. It's nothing else. The guy's been available, right? He had the oblique situation, but he still wasn't out the game. He played. Of course, it's the play calling. That's what I'm asking. That's the why I'm referring to. Why are we not calling the plays for this guy to play and get the ball? Hey, Lori. Gabe says I'm ready to sim to the next season at this point. I'm not quite there yet. That's crazy. I like him. Any other team would have used him tremendously by now. Josh, we will get back. I'll make a video out of that. Run says not having wide receiver 3 is the reason we're not as good or consistent in the red zone, and our third, fourth down efficiency in the red zone is not as good last year. I agree with that 100%. 100%. But we'll see. We shall see. Why? Put in the comment section. Why do you think we're not playing Isaac TesLaa when we obviously we traded Tim Patrick for a reason? And you would assume that that reason was Isaac. Why is he last on the list? He is last on the list. I'm going to bring it in here again because it's shocking. It's shocking to look at. Isaac TesLaa has been targeted the least amount of times. He has the least amount of receptions and the least amount of yards. Why give up draft capital and trade away? I could see if you kept Tim Patrick because you're saying, okay, this guy is a rookie. We're going to give him some time to get acclimated to the NFL, and we're going to keep a veteran. But we trade this guy. And then the guy that we obviously was going to replace him is literally last on the team in targets, receptions, and yards. Something's got to give. Something's got to give. Who do you blame? I don't blame Isaac for sure, but somebody is to blame, and something's got to change because now Sam Laporta's out, and that's a big deal. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below.